Dedicated followers of Nigel, lovers of the colourful car, anyone with a mild passing interest in this strange machine, I present to you the most exciting news ever. Well, actually the most exciting news so far with this car. Not the most significant, the most exciting. We know the difference. The most significant was probably head gasket and all the other things that I've had to do with this car in the past in order to keep it on the road. No, something a bit more pleasing than having to fix it. When I got this car back, I was a little disappointed. I kind of lost my interest in it. I lost my way with this quirky little car. I felt in some ways I'd finished, I'd done everything I could, and now I was left with something that didn't really drive very well any longer due to knackered bits on it all over. And thanks to the kindness of Mr. Greg, Mr. Eggy Greggy, Mr. GE Automotive, who sent me some parts to ensure that the suspension on this car was indeed sorted out. And I did, I sorted it out. I did the track rod ends, I did the D-bushes on the anti-roll bar, I did the drop links before that, and then I took it out for a drive and found myself being incredibly disappointed. You see, it sat around. Sorry, I'm basically going to repeat something that you've already seen. Just give it a couple of minutes at best, and then we'll build something completely brand new. I won't take up too much time repeating myself of things that happened months back. Last year, having got my car back because I lent it out, it had very little MOT on it, and it was suffering with some problems, and so I thought I'd leave it. And then at the beginning of the year, I sorted out all of the oil leaks and stuff like that. I thought, brilliant. Took it for its MOT, it kind of just about passed, and then was excited to have Nigel back on the road. But it wasn't as simple as that. No, it wasn't. Oh, empty. The very reason I saved Nigel in the first place 7 years ago was because although it looked like a tatty old piece of junk, it did drive fantastically. That was it, that was the main reason. And this car triggered a response in me where suddenly I felt duty bound to save cars like this that still had plenty of life in them, yet was being chucked away for not being particularly glamorous. Suits me. But when I got it back on the road earlier this year, it just didn't feel the same. I felt deflated. I felt like that love has gone. This car is now just going to be probably an ornament, probably just something of the past to keep, a keepsake of the yard. As long as I can keep the yard. What would I do with it if I lost it? I don't know, let's not go down that route. Deflated, I hadn't entirely given up on the thing. I still wanted it, I just didn't really know entirely how much work it would take to fix the thing. And that's where Mr. Gregory Elgood came into play by providing some parts. And also my other lovely friend, Aaron Gill, who provided me with some brake discs and some brake pads. And before that, an exhaust, which was just wonderful. But all of that fitted, it still wasn't right. That joyful feeling that I had driving Nigel had gone. When I replaced that knackered track rod end and drove it around the yard, and suddenly that horrible knock had gone, I thought, brilliant. This is the start of my love affair with this car. Back being besotted by this strange little thing. But it wasn't. Although the knock had gone, it drove even worse than it did do before. It became clear that the possible solution to this was just to simply get the tracking done. But how far out could it actually be? Well, the tyres indicated that there was something wrong because they were going bald on the inside. So I've replaced them. Not a matching pair, as you can probably see, but with an even amount of tread. And as I drove it away, it did feel just a little bit better. But What wasn't fixed was this strange thing where it simply wouldn't drive in a straight line unless I was properly holding the wheel. You're supposed to hold the wheel though, aren't you? Should that matter? Yeah, it should. Yeah, it does a bit actually. After my little trip out to Scotland, the next day I went and got the tracking done. And the results are quite amazing. Quite amazing indeed. It definitely did need doing. The near side rear wheel seems to be towing out. Or is it in? It's in. Towing in ever so slightly. And I did have somebody in the comments, I can't remember who it was, and comments can be difficult to find because there were so many of them, telling me that they followed me through Rochdale recently and said that my car appeared to be crabbing. And if we look at this back tyre, we can see ever so slightly that the inside is a bit more worn than the outside. Trouble is, there's not much I can do about that besides replacing the rear axle. So 0.22 of a degree out. So it's either slammed into a curb at some point, hit a really horrific pothole, or something like that, but I don't know what. We look at the front offside, we can see it's towing out by 1.16%, which is quite significant. Do a couple of 100 miles on the motorway and the near side front will have tried to travel the distance of the height of the Burj Khalifa over that way somewhere. And that's interesting because I think that way is southeast. But the near side, even worse, towing out by 1.29 degrees. The results speak for themselves. I've got new tyres on the front, so now it should drive better and without scrubbing all of the rubber off onto the tarmac. Let's go and find out whether it made any difference. Now, unfortunately, you cannot see the real sense of excitement that I had when I drove this car for the first time, having had the tracking done, because that was yesterday and I had to drive the car to the yard to make the video. So that means the best I can do right now is like a recreation, a reenactment, that's it. A reenactment of the day the tracking got sorted out on the car, this car. Are we ready? Yes, that's more like it. Brilliant. I can take my hands off the wheel. It's going in a straight line at last. Brilliant. Yes, finally the joy of Nigel has come back. It was something like that. And here I am, driving at 50 miles per hour without the thing weaving around all over the place. The tracking was most definitely the problem. So what's of this on the back though? I don't even know how it's happened, when it happened. It could have been like this all the time. Because this car now feels like it used to do. It's now a joy to drive again. That's all I wanted. I am back in this fantastic little motor with a big real smile on my face, and I'm not faking it at all. I am absolutely over the moon, even though, you know, I had this news yesterday. But the thing is, anytime I drive it, I'm going to feel the same joy. Now I want to take it places yet again. I will. And I already did do yesterday. I went to Todmorden in it yesterday. Needles got shop, took this car instead. Why not? For the joys. Anyone who feels joyful about this car will feel even more joyful seeing how joyful I am. What about these sheep? Are they happy about it? Quite possibly not. Why would they? Why would they give a shit? I now have the urge to go to car shows again. I've only been to 2 this year, and I think I only went to 2 or maybe 3 last year. And now I want to fill my weekends up doing something as pointless as standing around in fields or on streets, chatting with people I don't know. It is now time to interrupt this little Nigel update for an experiment. The game of plastic milk bottle fling and splatter can be extended to see which one will be most impressive when flung. Will it be the quarter filled bottle or the completely filled bottle? Now we all know it's going to be the filled bottle, don't we? But this is science. We have to prove these things. You don't just make the assumption that because it's got more liquid in it, it's going to make a better splatter, a more ASMR inspired, gone off milk fueled bit of excitement. So what we need is the tripod, which needs to be strategically placed somewhere near the impact, but far enough away just in case things go wrong, and they could do. Bear in mind. Oh, it didn't even split. Oh, good sound. The results speak for themselves. The quarter filled has clearly done itself an injury. It is probably never going to live again. But the completely filled one looks like it's fallen out of a hot air balloon and onto a concrete car park full of people eating Marmite sandwiches. But because this one has slightly survived, that means I can throw it again. Oh, that's a good sound. I think it might be dead now. Now back to the car. It's like going back in time a few years to when this car was always just a pleasure to drive, and somehow it's come back. Oh, it's been a while since I've done that. Why haven't I deployed my 8-horn shouty thing? No idea. No idea why not. What? I'm going a bit faster than I should do, really, along here. What about the bump? Oh, the bump's here. The bump's here. Can easily take off. Well, yep. Oh, that triggered a response from my dash cam. Nigel on the moors, right next to a load of fly tipping shite. Maybe it's difficult to tell the difference. Which is Nigel? Which is the shite? Well, I can tell you for definite that just because this car may be considered as a load of shite, that's more like shite than what this is. Somebody's paid to have a shed clearance and it's ended up being disgraceful. So what can I say besides I'm very, very happy that Nigel now works like it should do. It just makes me want to drive the little petal. I'm sorry, I just feel like taking some pictures and then I do a little walk around it again. Oh, and I will actually just, yeah. That's not relevant. Five years ago, I reacquired this car for the last time. 5 years, that's the longest I've ever owned a car. It's the longest I've really owned anything. When you consider actual ownership and not just, gosh, that's empty. Wow. I thought I'd lost interest in it, but it's all back. But what's next? Because what else is really worthwhile doing? I never wanted this to be a finished project. And it never will be, but I can't really think of anything else I need to do. Besides, everything that it does have just been a bit better. So every bit of paint just being a bit nicer. This headlining, wasn't sure whether it was a good idea. I think it is a good idea, but I need to do it better. The dashboard I could replace for a soft touch dashboard, but what really is the point? It's a bit nicer, but only a bit. And then the door cards wouldn't match it anyway. I have a centre console out of an R8. That would fit this, but it's got no lid. I could fit that. I could find a lid. Maybe the HHR lid actually fits, I don't know. The engine seems to be perfectly okay. I mean, I could start going down the whole process of looking to get a powerful engine, like just even a 1.6 or 1.6 K series, and a Rover 25 actually makes it quite a pokey little machine. And I've got one, and you know, I would go for the turbo lump. That's expensive, but I actually don't really have any interest in doing that. All the panels are going to remain the same. The wheels may change for a set of Cosmos or something like that. I think the job's done. I think it's done. It's just improving what I have. But it doesn't mean it's the end. 25 has the full 5 buttons on the dashboard, which means it has front fog lamps as well as aircon. The aircon doesn't work because there's no gas in it. There's a big leak. I could try and fix that, but I'm not bothered about that. I've got aircon in the Volvo that's much better. This fuel economy would definitely become a bit of an issue. Jesus, wanker. Oh, look what's ahead of us. It is a Rover 25. Go to Pride of Longbridge, go to the Motor Museum, go to any one of these British car shows and you'll see loads of Rover 25s. But there's nothing quite like seeing one in the wild, because that's a car that's being used. That's somebody's actual means of conveyance. Unless it's like this one, where it's just being driven around just to make a video with. To finish off this episode of Nigel, I'm going to do the most exciting, boring thing you can do. And that is gently wash every panel and then a little bit of paint renovation on those panels. Wax. What I'm doing is using this Nettie's paste wax, but it's quite hard. So what I found the best way is, take a lump of it like this, hold it in your hand. Hold it in your hand for a bit, till it melts, swap it over and put it in the hand. And then you can just basically make sure every single bit of it's covered like that. And you can tell when it's run out because it feels a bit dry suddenly. Time to turn the car around and go up Kiln Lane. Time to put the windows up so you don't hear the So this is the end of this particular video. All about this car called Nigel. The success story over a very long time. A long time in waiting to see the situation resolved. Join me with a glass clinking celebration as I go home and have a cup of tea and ponder the drooping headline which I need to re-glue. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for being a subscriber. Thank you very, very much for being a channel member. Thank you very much for anything else I should say thank you very much for. And there are many things I could say thank you very much for. I could create a list. I could write down a whole list of things that I just, I mean, a professional broadcaster, YouTuber would probably have a list by the side where they just read through to make sure they get everything right. But I don't. I just have a sheet that shows where my tracking's off. And you've already seen that, so you don't need to see it again. Right, I switched off there because I was just waffling, and now I think I've remembered exactly what it is I wanted to tell you. Oh yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean I'm going to tell you, does it? It just means I'm thinking about it.